Welcome back to Pete's Dugout. This is episode number 3 of my FIFA 23 career mode. I think I'm getting the hang of this, But anyway, just a quick recap of last episode where we kept our unbeaten run going with a draw at home to Burnley, a penalty shootout win in the Carabao Cup, and a narrow win at Swansea after our second half meltdown. So up to 5th in the table, just 2 points behind the leaders. We've got 3 games today, and first up we are at home to QPR, who are currently 17th in the table, looking to build on a really positive start to the season. I made one change to the team as Burrows comes in to give Bidwell a rest, and we kick things off 10 minutes in as QPR have a set piece in the middle of the attacking third. Johansson loops a ball over to Tyler Roberts, and Sheaf does a brilliant job to throw himself in the way of the goal-bound header as Ronnin's in no man's land. From the resulting corner, Johansson plays in another teasing ball, and it's Clark Salter this time who fires his header into the net. And I've got to be honest, I'm so disappointed with my goalkeeper here. He's definitely got to do better with that one. So we find ourselves 1-0 down away from home, but 15 minutes in, we win the ball back from a wayward pass from the goalscorer, and there's a chance to break. The ball is initially cleared by Dunn, but we keep it alive through Dabo. He plays a quick 1-2 with Tavsan before laying it off to O'Hare. Stays strong in the challenge from Dunn. Squares it to Gyökeres, and you know the rest. He belts in a left-footed shot past the helpless QPR keeper, and it's 1-1. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I do not know how many games he would have won this season without the Swedish international. What a player. The game is tied and we look to be on top, but 26 minutes in, my smile quickly turned to a frown as Kim goes down after winning an aerial duel with the on-loan Manchester United right back Ethan Laird. I passed the ball around a little here just to check if he would get up and carry on, but unfortunately he'd be unable to continue, which is never good. But we kept on probing, and Burrows delivers a fantastic cross, and Tavsan towers over 2 QPR defenders to nod home, and we take the lead 2-1. As I mentioned, unfortunately, Kim was forced off through injury, and I was praying that it wasn't a big one. So Palmer comes in on the left as QPR get us back underway, and they look to respond immediately. They play a perfect cross-field pass to feet under pressure, as only the Ion Ultimate can do. Willock takes a lovely first touch, which completely takes Dabo out of the game. He sizes up Panzo and drops the shoulder, but my centre-back blocks it behind for a corner. QPR had already been dangerous from set pieces, and this one was no different. Johansson sends another ball in to Willock, who glances ahead of goalward, but this time Ronnin is equal to it and puts it behind. I'm under heavy pressure, and 35 minutes in, Dazelle finds himself in space towards our box before finding Lyndon Dykes, and once again I'm asking questions of my goalkeeper. The Scottish striker's shot is hit well, but it goes straight through the hands of Ronnin, who's having a really tough game so far. 2-2 at the break, and I can't believe what I've just watched. Second half action now as we look to bounce back from that first half equaliser, with Burrows, who forgets he's a left back for a second, plays a step over and skips past Roberts effortlessly before finding Hamer, looks up and plays an absolutely sublime ball, perfectly weighted, perfectly timed, and Gyökeres is brought down in the box for a penalty. Jimmy Dunn gets the yellow card and Gyökeres steps up. If you watched episode 2, then you already know where this one's going. Top left from my informed striker, and we retake the lead 3-2. The AI very rarely gives away penalties these days on FIFA, so you really have to take advantage of these situations. So we've got ourselves a real end-to-end game so far, and the perfect start to the second half, but QPR look to respond again with another set piece. They play it short this time after Johansson gets the ball back, and he finds Dazelle, who feeds the ball through to Roberts, and you can chalk this one up to the worst goalkeeping performance of all time. Talk about going from hero to zero in the space of one episode. 3-3, what a game. To be honest, I considered just subbing Ronning off at this point through sheer rage, but I tried to remain calm. I knew I'd get another chance, so I stayed patient with my passing and looked for open spaces as Hamer turns inside, looks for the return pass from O'Hare, and all of a sudden the game is just wide open and Hamer is able to feed an inviting through ball to Gyökeres, takes a touch to steady himself before shooting straight at the keeper, who pushes it behind for a corner. So the resulting corner is swung in but not dealt with properly by QPR, and Tavsan narrowly puts his headed effort past the post. I'm fairly certain that Tavsan has had more headed chances than anything else so far this season, but he's only buried the one. Another chance goes begging, and I had a horrible feeling in my stomach as Sheaf can't sort his feet out. He's robbed by Dykes, and thankfully his near post effort is saved by my under pressure keeper. So just before the corner comes in, both teams make subs, and notably QPR bring on Adoma. And I make a point of referencing that sub because as the corner is swung in, Allen tries to head the ball clear, and Adoma somehow beats my goalkeeper with a low shot, and I am absolutely fuming. Somebody check Ronin's accumulator, because he's had an absolute howler in this game and he's cost us 3 points. The final whistle blows and it's Coventry 3, QPR 4. What a game that is for the neutrals then to start the episode off, but I've got a serious decision to make on my goalkeeping selection. So the bad news just keeps on coming as we head back to the office and we find out that Kim has dislocated his shoulder and he's going to be out for 2 months. Not horrific, but he's definitely going to be missed, and I might need to consider a loan or a free agent signing just to bring somebody in. But some transfer admin then as Simon Moore completes his move to Başakşehir for just over 700k. I'm happy with that as he's third string and not likely to get much game time, so his wages can come off the books. But anyway, next up we're away to Rotherham, where Bidwell comes back in at left back, the youngster Bapega comes in for the injured Kim, and a big chance at right back where Blackman starts ahead of Dabo after I noticed how much he's been getting sort of targeted lately down the flanks. I've kept the faith with Ronin for now in goals after his horrific game against QPR. Fingers crossed he can put that behind him now and put in a top performance. So we pick things up 30 minutes in after a perfect start from Coventry sees O'Hare finishing off a lovely team goal. We'd held Rotherham to basically nothing so far, and right on the stroke of half-time, Tavzan cuts inside and feeds it to O'Hare, who opens his body and his long-range effort is dealt with by the keeper. Not much to report in the first half, but Coventry lead at the break 1-0. I did make one change at the break with Ganelli coming on for Bapega, and I wanted to come out strong in the second half to build on our lead. I knew Rotherham couldn't play any worse than in the first 45, and I wanted more than a 1-goal lead, so as Hamer finds Gyökeres on the edge of the box, he turns and fires a powerful effort which would have surely made it 2-0 if not for a good save from Vickers. The resulting corner saw Hamer involved again as his corner finds Blackman, but his header goes narrowly over the bar. However, I stayed on the front foot with O'Hare just past the hour mark, and he takes out 2 defenders with a through ball to Gyökeres. Big Vic turns back on himself and finds O'Hare all alone in the box, but he tries to place one instead of putting his laces through it, and the keeper reacts well to save. 64 minutes in now, and Rotherham were looking to take advantage of our missed chances. Kelly finds Rathbone down the left and he hands off to Ferguson. Blackman initially does well to stop the cross, but the ball bounces straight back to Ferguson. They get tangled up and the Rotherham man comes out on top, finding Eves, who shoots. It gets deflected by Panzo, and would you believe it? I can't blame Ronin for this one, and for all of our chances we find ourselves level. It's 1-1. But I needed fresh legs, and they came in the shape of Allen and Palmer, who replaced Tavzan and Hamer. Both had played well, but were looking really tired out there, and if I wasn't careful this game was going to slip away from me. But I stayed positive, and I knew that I would get more chances as Sheaf plays O'Hare through the middle. Ganelli then finds Gyökeres, and there it is. When I needed it the most, my talisman, my top scorer, my big Swede comes through in the clutch, and we take the lead with 10 minutes to go. I made 2 more changes after the goal, with Edwards and Dabo coming on for Panzo and the very impressive Blackman. And 85 minutes gone, Bidwell goes on a little run down the left. He cuts inside and feeds a smart ball through to O'Hare, who's now in acres of space. He takes a look up and then shows a brilliant burst of speed to avoid 2 defenders, shoots, and it's game over. O'Hare finds the back of the net for the second time today, and it's 3-1 Coventry. So, a well-deserved victory in the end, but we did do it the hard way. I know that against better opposition we're likely going to regret missing so many chances. But straight into the final episode of the day then, and it's the second round of the Carabao Cup against Wigan Athletic. Lots of changes to the starting lineup as this game comes just 4 days after our win at Rotherham. And I'll be honest, the Carabao Cup is pretty low on my priorities, but I still want to win, even if it's just for momentum to take back into the league. We kick things off 1 minute into the game as Bapega loses out to Cousins. He finds Lang before playing a 1-2 with Keane. Lang keeps going into the box and his right-footed effort is saved well by Wilson. A shaky start to the game, and it got worse with 20 minutes gone as McLean attacks down the left-hand side with Dabo struggling to cope defensively again. He makes a cute pass inside that finds McGuinness. They play a quick 1-2 in the box before his shot is blocked, but he resets possession and passes it out to Keane. He gives it back to McGuinness for another bite of the cherry, and his curling effort finds the back of the net. Thankfully, we're saved by the offside flag, but 2 early warning signs in this one. Wigan were well on top in the first half, and they continued to play deadly through balls to cut my backline into pieces. And what a ball this is! McLean plays in Lang, and he should do so much better, firing over the bar from close range. We had barely laid a glove on Wigan in this one, but we got our first chance of the game 44 minutes into the first half, as Bapega passes to Palmer, who turns well and tries his luck from 30 yards, but Amos pushes it clear. Bapega then stops it going out of play, passes back inside and the shot is blocked and eventually cleared. Somehow this game is 0-0 at half time, and despite having that last chance, Wigan were by far the better team. So I took it as a positive that we didn't concede in the first half, and we used that positive energy to start the second period. No changes just yet, and we get underway with Kelly finding Bapega down the left wing. He cuts inside with his first touch and speeds past Power, uses quick feet to shift the ball onto his right foot before slotting into Palmer just outside the box. He keeps his head up and feeds Godden, who sorts his feet out perfectly and sends a 12-yard effort flying into the back of the net. You might say it's against the run of play, but Coventry start the second half perfectly after absorbing so much pressure in the first 45. It's 1-0. Coventry look to respond immediately though, as Shinnie finds McGuinness in the box and he beats Wilson near post. All of a sudden the game is tied and I'm back to square one. A deflating feeling as we'd worked so hard to get ahead, but the game did start to open up with both teams wanting to win, and I felt we'd get more chances as Kelly finds Bapega in his stride. The youngster makes a great first touch again to create space and he rolls in Reed on the overlap. He squares the ball to Kelly, who struggles to get the ball out from under him, and his shot is battered away by Amos. The goal kick then finds its way to Bapega, who ball rolls past Lang and he is away. He sees the space through the middle of the pitch and shows lightning speed to terrify the Wigan defenders before feeding a delicate pass through to Palmer, and he smashes it first time past the Wigan keeper. What a goal, and once again we take the lead. Brilliant play from the youngster Bapega, and he created that chance out of absolutely nothing. We had the bit between our teeth now and momentum was really on our side as Reed wins the ball back and makes a positive run down the left hand side of the pitch before finding Godden. He chips the ball to Palmer, who goes for the show-stopping overhead kick, but Amos makes a terrific reaction save. I was getting so much joy down the left with my youngsters Bapega and Reed, and they link up once again as Reed bombs down the wing and plays a delicious ball into the box for Ganelli. He powers his header just wide, and once again we fail to convert our chances in a nail-biting game. I did make some changes at the 75-minute mark, notably giving a season debut to Howley as we look to keep legs fresh. And 85 minutes in, it's those two again, Bapega and Reed, with the latter finding Palmer on the edge of the box. He shows patience and slides a ball into Allen, who recycles the ball to Dabo on the right-hand side of the pitch. He takes a few dribbles, plays in Ganelli, and his shot across goal is deflected wide by the Wigan defender Tilt. And that turned out to be the final chance of the game, and we come away with a 2-1 victory. Talk about a game of two halves. Wigan will be kicking themselves for not doing more with that first half, and we get the job done in the second with goals from Godden and Palmer. On we go through to the next round of the Cup, and a great way to end the video with another win. But that's going to do it for another episode of FIFA 23 Career Mode on Pete's Dugout. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. If you did like it, then please do drop a like and consider subscribing. Still working on that outro, but I'll be back with another video very soon.